Welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. Today, we're focusing on the escalating crisis in the Gaza Strip, where a humanitarian disaster is unfolding. We'll bring you the latest developments and updates from around the world. As we begin, let's take a look at the situation on the ground. The conflict between Israel and Hamas has been ongoing for nearly 2 years, resulting in the loss of thousands of lives and a deepening humanitarian crisis. In recent weeks, the situation has deteriorated further, with reports of famine and starvation spreading throughout the Gaza Strip. According to reports from the Gaza Ministry of Health, over 40 hunger-related deaths were recorded in July alone, including 16 children. The data also shows that at least 111 people have died from hunger since the beginning of the war, with 81 of those being children. These numbers are alarming and highlight the urgent need for humanitarian aid to reach those affected. In response to the crisis, Italy has announced plans to begin airdrops of aid into Gaza, according to their minister. This move is aimed at alleviating the suffering of the civilian population and addressing the dire humanitarian needs on the ground. Meanwhile, in the United States, protests have been taking place outside the offices of Senators Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, who recently voted against a resolution to halt U.S. arms sales to Israel. The protesters, organized by the anti-war group Jewish Voice for Peace, are calling for an end to the war and for the U.S. to pressure Israel to allow aid into Gaza. We've also seen reports of demonstrations taking place in other parts of the world, including Crete, where protesters attempted to block the arrival of Israeli tourists. In France, the government has announced plans to send 40 tons of humanitarian aid to Gaza. As the international community grapples with how to respond to this crisis, it's essential to approach the situation with a fair and balanced perspective. We must consider the complexities of the conflict and the competing interests at play. Here on Barbara's Bulletin, we're committed to bringing you in-depth analysis and insightful commentary from experts and individuals affected by the crisis. We'll continue to follow developments closely and provide updates as more information becomes available. For now, let's take a step back and assess the situation. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is a pressing concern that demands attention and action from the international community. As we move forward, it's crucial that we prioritize the needs of those affected and work towards finding a peaceful resolution to the conflict. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we continue our global coverage, we're shifting our focus to Asia, where 2 significant stories are unfolding in Thailand. First, we have some positive news from the aviation industry, as Thai Airways International Public Company Limited is set to return to trading on the Stock Exchange of Thailand, or SET, starting August 4th. This marks a new chapter for the airline, following its successful completion of a court-supervised restructuring process. According to reports, the Central Bankruptcy Court ordered the lifting of the suspension of Thai Airways shares in June, paving the way for the airline's return to the stock market. This development is seen as a major milestone in the company's efforts to re-establish itself as a stable and sustainable player in the aviation industry. However, not all news from Thailand is positive. The country's tourism sector, which is a significant contributor to its economy, is struggling to recover despite efforts to boost visitor numbers. The introduction of retaliatory tariffs by U.S. President Donald Trump, including those targeting Thailand, has had a negative impact on tourist arrivals. Furthermore, domestic political tensions and border conflicts are also taking a toll on the country's tourism industry. These challenges are affecting not only the overall economy, but also the livelihoods of people dependent on tourism in various regions, particularly in border areas where tensions can be felt most keenly. As we consider these stories, it's essential to recognize the complex interplay between economic, political, and social factors that influence a nation's development. The resurgence of Thai Airways is a testament to the potential for renewal and growth, while the challenges facing Thailand's tourism sector serve as a reminder of the vulnerabilities that many economies face in an increasingly interconnected world. In our coverage, we aim to provide a balanced perspective, acknowledging both the successes and the setbacks. By doing so, we hope to offer our listeners a deeper understanding of the global landscape and its many nuances. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we conclude today's program, we turn our attention to a pressing issue in West Africa, where the former Prime Minister of Mali, Moussa Mara, has been charged with undermining the credibility of the state over a social media post. This development comes amidst a complex and challenging environment in Mali, marked by military rule, dissolved political parties, and a surge in deadly attacks by extremist groups. According to reports from Reuters and the BBC, Mara was detained and questioned by the National Cybercrime Unit about his post on X, where he expressed solidarity with government critics who have been jailed. The prosecutor has accused him of offenses, including undermining the credibility of the state, spreading false information, and inciting public disorder. His trial is scheduled for September 29. This case highlights the tensions between free speech and national security in a country struggling to respond to a long-running jihadist insurgency. Mara's actions have been seen as a challenge to the military government led by Assimi Goïta, who assumed power after coups in 2020 and 2021. The situation is further complicated by the recent approval of Goïta's 5-year term without elections, which has raised concerns about the erosion of democratic space in Mali. As we analyze this story, it's essential to consider the broader context of Mali's political landscape and the impact of military rule on civil liberties. The dissolution of political parties and the restrictions on free speech have created an environment where criticism of the government is increasingly difficult. Mara's case serves as a reminder of the importance of protecting human rights and promoting democratic values, even in the face of significant security challenges. In conclusion, the charging of Moussa Mara with undermining the state over a social media post raises important questions about the balance between national security and individual freedoms in Mali. As we continue to follow this story, we will provide updates and insights into the evolving situation in West Africa. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, stay engaged.